Good morning, everybody, or good afternoon, and happy last Friday of February. Sparkle, can you believe it is the last February Friday?
I really can't because January felt like it was 75 days long. And then February was like that. So I'm like, really? We're in March already?
I know it's so hard that February is just a short month already. That you're like, geez, I just blinked and it was gone. It was gone. Oh my goodness.
My
Well,
sister, she had me cracking up because she said, well, when the 30th of February comes, I was like, sis, there's no. Oh my God, you're right. I said, there's not even a 29th. Like,
no, no, there's no 29. There's no 29. Well, welcome everybody. If you're tuning in to Tisha Talks Live here on LinkedIn, YouTube, or Facebook, such a pleasure to have you joining us. And today I have the pleasure to introduce you to this lovely woman here, Sparkle Lindsay. She is out of Colorado. She is a CEO of Sparkle LLC, and she's talking about how to become one with your feelings. So we have such a jam-packed conversation. And if you are tuning in, like this gentleman here, Bruce Carnahan, who's out here in Arizona with me, is saying, hello, ladies. So yeah, feel free to join in the conversation with us. If you have a question, if you have a comment, if you'd like to just say hello and where you're from, we'd love to have you. And we're going to start taking this show on the road. What do you say, Sparkle?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right. So I have a very important question for you, and we are going to dive in real deep today. Again, we're talking about how to become one with your feelings. So the question is, have you ever been the person to ignore the elephant in the room? Like, we all have the elephant in the room, but have you been like, elephant, I just don't have time for you today?
Well, a big portion of my life, a whole part of my life, when I was battling addiction, was the elephant in the room. The elephant in the room was the feelings that I was suppressing with alcohol and addiction. And finally, I decided to look at that elephant, jump on it, and ride it. And I could say right then and there is when I learned to sit in my feelings, in my emotions, and become one with myself. And that is where my journey has started. I'm almost 3 years sober in alcohol and addiction. I've got 2 or 3 more months.
Yay!
I'm like, but man, the journey. Last week, yesterday, I was talking with my coach, Jason Tracy, and I just talked about all the different feelings I have been feeling throughout my early sobriety, 0 to 3 years. And even now, just in February, all these new things spurring up and me being able to actually sit in them and know that they're temporary, not permanent, and get ready for the next feeling and the next emotion and let it become me daily, and so learning how to do that now, my pet elephant, my friend, walks
Yeah.
with me as I learn to walk through those emotions on a regular basis.
That's really good. That's good. I like how you even said that. You're like, no, I just got on the elephant and I
Yeah.
rode the elephant.
Yeah. At
Like, I
first I
wasn't
was a little
afraid of this
timid.
anymore.
I was timid. I was like, why am I crying? All these things. And then finally I was like, look, elephant, it's me and you. I'm getting up there.
Yeah. You're like, I'm gonna just boost. Give me some of a boost
Yeah,
up there.
we're doing it.
Oh, it's so funny. All right, I really like Bruce's comment coming in saying, Sparkle Lindsay, yay, good job. Yes, that elephant can be hard to ride. He has a wide neck to jump on.
Yeah. Because sometimes you're holding on to those feelings and you're like, why do I feel this way? And you have to express it. So when you're holding on, you're like, I'm not falling off. And that's
Yeah.
when you have the gift of fighting yourself for yourself.
Yes.
See, it's where you decide to jump in and say, it's time to be one with those emotions and it's time to let them become you, instead of trying to suppress them and act as if they don't exist when we all know they do.
Mhm. Right. I mean, I just love even that little soundbite you just said about the fight in yourself for yourself. Like,
Yep.
we're in it for ourselves. Like, you
Yep.
want it, you will make this thing happen for you.
Yeah, there's been a few times that I have, especially when I decided to go to treatment, I was fighting myself. I was
Yeah.
fighting myself for myself. And I knew then I'm gonna have to make this change for me, and I was willing to go fight myself to do it. And this is where I am, almost 3 years later. So that
Oh,
fight every day, that fight, push and pull against the universe and just trying to figure out where I fit. And finally it's starting to mellow out a bit, but every day is something, it's just something wonderful to look at. And every emotion is worth exploring.
mhm. Yeah. I think that there are a lot of us that just try and push those emotions out, or we try to be really strong and we're like, I don't really want to pay attention to those
Yeah.
feelings.
Mhm.
And we really should address the elephant or the feelings that we're having if we're going to get through it.
Yes, it's masking how we really feel,
Hmm.
which kind of, for me, was like, am I living a superficial life? Because I don't want to. I
Yeah.
want to live how I truly feel, and I want to be honest and open and stand in my truth while I say it.
Hmm.
I feel sad today. I just feel sad.
Yeah.
If I feel excited about something, where's that coming from? Let me explore it.
Hmm.
Only person that's going to know me better than me and my feelings is me. So I might
Hmm.
explore that. And then I can tell everybody else how I'm feeling so they can meet me where I'm at, on a
Right.
regular basis. So yeah.
Yeah, so important. I love that the people that are joining us off LinkedIn as well, like gentlemen that we know here, Robert Berry saying Sparkle, good
Hey,
to see you
Robert.
here, Robert Berry. He's even saying deciding to fight is the biggest first step.
There it
So
is.
very true. And then of course we've got this gentleman, Mr. Jason
Hey,
Tracy. You are a rock star,
hey,
Sparkle.
coach.
Yeah, yeah. Jason, shout out to Jason who's coaching Sparkle. So this is amazing. But I know that a lot of men, especially, they try to mask those feelings. They want to come out as this like macho, I've got it all figured out, and like, but inside they might be dealing with a lot of things
Yes,
that
and I
they
would
just don't want to
say,
bring to the surface.
right. And I would say in my career, being a certified recovery coach and a recovery coach of coaches now, um, I literally like notice this in a lot of the men that I work with as clients, that I had a client who actually had an issue where his wife was talking down to him pretty badly. And when he called me, he was like, I am just so upset. I don't understand this. She needs to leave me alone. Da 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 da. And it got real quiet. And the
Yeah.
question I asked was, what's underneath your anger?
Hmm.
He just started crying. He said, I am a good dad. And I
Mm.
really want to be valued. And I'm hurt that she would even say that I'm not a good dad. I spend so much time with my kids and that breakdown
Oh,
was so sweet because he was able to identify what was underneath our secondary emotion, which is anger, right?
yeah.
But the thing underneath it was, I'm hurt and I really do love my children.
Hmm.
And people have to recognize we're human and we all have these emotions, and trying to act as if they're not there just gets us into more trouble. Hello, alcoholic
Yeah.
addict here, it gets us into
Yeah.
more trouble.
Right. Oh my goodness. Yeah. I just remember, definitely when we were talking about how have feelings affected you in your life. And I'd love to have that conversation and dive deeper into that. I know just at a young age, I was like the chubby girl. I always share this story. I was a chubby girl. I ate a whole lot of candy bars. Like I didn't have the greatest health. And I remember my aunt just really always like picking on me for that and like making some
Yeah.
snide comments and telling me that, oh, that shirt, I could never borrow it because it would be way too big for me. Like just that kind of
Yes.
stuff. It just was that poking and prodding. And it's like, and I had to deal with those feelings. And just like your client, my immediate reaction was to go to my mom and blame her. And it was sad. I was like, you made me like this. She's like, how did I make you like this? And I
Right.
was like, you gave me those tater tots. You gave me those pizza and those, you didn't stop me. You. And she's like, okay, but it's kind of like that. We were talking about the elephant in the room. Like I had to just come to
Yes.
grips and say, if I want to fight and I want to change something, I have to be the one to do that. Nobody else is going to do that for me.
Exactly. And I love that story because, for me, before I decided to leave my relationship, I was getting ready to be married. And I gave the ring back.
Mm,
It saved my life. And I couldn't believe it. But I didn't realize how much it affected me until I was sitting in a movie theater.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, I was watching Respect with Aretha Franklin, and
Oh,
I'm like excited. I'm in the movies by myself because I love to go to the movies by myself. That's my self-care, by the way. And
yeah.
and I'm sitting there and I'm ready to just rock out, right? And there was a portion in there where the man that she was with was talking really bad to her. He was talking
Yeah.
down to her. He told her, I'm the reason why you are who you are. And I said in my head, I don't understand why she just doesn't leave him. And
Mm-hmm.
I promise you, I broke down in tears that quick and said, why didn't I leave him?
Yeah.
Why did I allow it?
Mm-hmm.
How did I take a part in this relationship? I sat there for a long time. And then I even got in the car and said, I sat here and allowed this. This
Mm-hmm.
isn't his fault. This ain't got nothing to do with him. Ain't got nothing to do with nobody but me. Why
Right.
am I okay with that? And it hurt. You know, that feeling where it hurt, but I was in it. That was
Yeah.
right, the elephant. And that was when I knew, how am I going to now look at life as how I play a part in not just my life, but everybody's life. And
Mm-hmm.
how I play a part in it, and how can I hold myself accountable for my actions, right? That is not easy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Not,
No.
you know, and so you just said that. You said, finally, I had to say, what am I going to do? I,
Right.
yes, maybe I did get tater tots, but I allowed myself to eat them, you know.
I
Maybe
know. I know.
I
It just makes me laugh because just before this call, my friend Mark Powell and I, he's like, let's go play pickleball. And I was like, I got time, so let's go play pickleball. And I'm like playing against master pro, like he got a scholarship for tennis.
right.
And I'm like, you are so going to win these games, but I'm going to get a run for my money and I'm going to get some exercise. Like, this is fun exercise. I get to hang with you and you will make me run the court. And I
Yes.
ran the dang court today, you know, and got back in time to do this live stream with you. And I think that my whole thinking has changed so much from that girl who was just this vulnerable, okay, just keep beating me up about this,
Yes.
to no, I'm going to fight for what I want. I'm going to fight for who I know I can be. And I did. Like, I remember back in junior high going to a friend and saying, may I borrow your Cindy Crawford VHS? And she's just like, yeah, take it for 3 months. I'm like, okay. And religiously, Sparkle, I would do that video and I started working out more and I started eating better and, you know, and things started to change. And now I'm just a little bit more cognizant of, don't want to be that girl again. Don't want to be in that situation where someone is poking fun at me. Like, it wasn't good. And I had to address those feelings head on for sure.
I think it also, what's cool is to watch it evolve into your demeanor. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So like the things that we're talking about are things that we've been working on to accept ourselves for who we are. But you can definitely see people who are in transition or people who are just still trying to find it, right?
Yeah.
Once you've kind of like took that first step, like Robert Barry said, whew, you get that second gust of wind and you're like, I can do this. I
Mm-hmm.
am willing and able to take care of me. I'm willing to do the things I need to do to be a better version of me every day, no matter who's around or not. It feels good to me. And I think that's a big portion is we get used to people telling us the things that they think we are, and we forget about the things that we truly are and what
Mm-hmm.
we stand for. And it's powerful when we finally find that or when we find it, you know?
Right. Oh, it is. I want to throw in some comments here from some of our guests. Robert saying, often all you have to do is ask someone what they're feeling and thinking. Asking sincerely is
It is powerful.
powerful. It really is. It truly is. And then Bruce jumping in here saying, wow, brave move. All self-care at the movies. Oh my goodness. I've
Oh,
done that.
now y'all don't be messing with the self-care, okay? The self-care don't be playing over here. You know, you got to have it. You know, when you're a coach, you got to take care of yourself the same way you allow space and hold space for the people you're coaching. If you're
Right.
not doing the same thing, what you coaching for? You know,
Girl, I could go on and on and on about that. I was like, do
right?
not coach me if you're not taking your own advice. Bruce and I were actually just talking about that. Like,
Yes.
you're the person that walks the talk. Would you trust me if I was like, I got zero branding, but I want to help you?
I'm gonna come out tomorrow. We're gonna figure it out. Like what? And Robert must be reading my book. I'm just going to say that. He must be reading my Being a Better Me for Me book. There is a portion that asks you to ask yourself how you're feeling today, and
Yeah.
then pull a feelings list and
Mhm.
associate with those words, because words have power. And then
Mhm.
when you go to talk to someone else, ask them how they're feeling and let them know how you're feeling as well, so they can meet you where you're at, and then
Yeah.
you can meet them where they're at. We ask people, how are you doing? What's going on? But really, how are you feeling? I don't
Mhm.
want good. I don't want great. What I want is, I'm feeling excited but anxious. Well, what's
Yes.
underneath that? I have an interview today, but I feel like I'm going to do great. That explains it, right? This
Yeah.
helps us have effective communication and communicate with people together, communicate together effectively and actually have a meaningful conversation versus just how you doing? Good. All right, cool. Coffee?
I know. That's so
What?
stupid.
You know me, I'd be like, I don't like that answer.
I kind
Something.
of feel like we have to start saying that. No, no, no. Don't give me good. Don't give me fine. That's
Give
not
me
a good
some
answer.
substance. I
Yeah,
need
like
some substance.
a little more stuff. Like tell me about you. Tell me about I really like that question, Sparkle, of like not how are you? No, like how
How
are
are
you
you feeling
feeling today? And really, really
today?
think about it because
Mhm.
I know for me, I was just telling Mark, I'm like, I've got such a high adrenaline rush. Like you worked me on
Yeah,
that tennis court. Like so I can go into my day and I'm excited and I'm, ready and I've just got a full day planned and but
yes,
he asked me one day or he asked me earlier this morning, he's like, what if he's like, Tisha, you're the girl that's always like high energy. What if there's days that you don't feel high energy? And I said, then I really just stay home and I relax and I
yep,
just deal and I try to kind of just get my self care in. And I realize that I don't need to be around a lot of people right now.
exactly. And a lot of people ask me in my book, what does hold space for yourself mean? And that's
Mm-hmm.
exactly what you just said. Finding time to spend time with you. That me time is important, to just get back and be realigned with yourself, especially if you're an empath. If you're an
Yeah.
empath, woo, you got to realign yourself, because you take on a lot of feelings, other people's feelings and other people's energy, right? So when you do that, you got to say, okay, I got to shut it off and let me spend some time in like a dark movie theater with all my favorite popcorn and a great movie. And then I'm like, I'm good. You know what I mean? I got time with me.
Let me get back to
Right?
center.
Like you said, I sit with myself. Maybe read a book. I do write this stuff down and just think about the things that make you feel so wholesome and just make you
Uh-huh.
feel back to where you're aligned and you're centered, right?
Yes.
It's the greatest feeling in the world.
It really is. I know it just makes me laugh because everyone's like, you could be around people all day long. I'm like, I don't always choose that.
Yeah,
Sometimes
no,
I'll choose to, hey, family, you go hang in the family room. I'm going upstairs to read a
yeah,
good book or to take a nap. Like, don't bother
yeah,
me. And that's okay. Like, we have to give each other, like you said, like hold the space. What do you need right now based on how you're
exactly.
feeling and really respect that about you? Like, this is
Yeah.
what I need right now. I'm going to give it to myself. Ah,
Yes. And I
good
think
stuff.
is as you're asking those questions to people, it makes people feel so valued. It makes people feel like they are important. It makes people feel like you are listening. Because
Yeah.
like a big portion of what we don't practice, I feel like it's a superpower that I have
Mhm.
now consumed. It's active listening. And so if you haven't practiced active listening, practice it daily, and the things you thought you heard may not be true at all.
I
Because sometimes we half listen, we half, oh, okay, yeah, I understand. Yeah. We cut people's sentences off, we finish them, No, when you actually sit in somebody's moment, in their beautiful disaster, and you actively listen to how they're feeling, uh, you can help them find the words they need to keep moving forward. Not you find it for them, but they can find it. And that is powerful in itself. That's stepping into your power and understanding your demeanor and throwing it out there in existence that you are a great person because someone listened to you. Just that,
Mhm.
you know?
Great superpower. I really love that too. And you're giving us such great insight and tips on how to reframe that conversation, how to dig deeper with that person, how to show up and be an active listener and say, I'm here to help you. Whatever it is you need, talk to me. This is
Uh-huh.
not surface level. Hey, I'm good. Great. Awesome.
Mhm.
Like
Yes.
really, really dive in. There's some questions that are in our comments.
Mhm.
Bruce asking the question, Sparkle, what was the burning platform moment that made you decide to change yourself?
Ooh, well, the burning platform, there was a lot that were leading up to it, but it's now been 3 years on the anniversary of November. I had an employee who actually killed himself in front of me. And
Oh,
I suppressed those emotions for like a whole entire year. And I drank to the point where I almost died. And I say every day that he impacted me, his death impacted me to be
mhm,
the better version I am today. Although he doesn't know how much it meant to me, it changed my life forever.
mhm.
And I knew then, I got to fight myself for myself. And this is the day. And I was so scared. I was so scared. Trauma, I'm strong. I didn't even know what trauma was back then, right? I'm just going to fight through it. Those
Yeah.
nightmares started hitting me, and I said, I need some help. I surrender, and I'm here to help myself as much as I can. Somebody, please grab me out of this dark ditch. I'm going to pull myself out if I have to, but I will not falter. And that was the piece that made me change my life right now for 2 years, 9 months, forever. And this is where I stand and I want to be. And I know that in order for me to do this, I have to become one with my emotions and my feelings. I have to, because they're a part of me and they're a really big part of me, you know?
Mhm. Oh, thank you for sharing. I'm
Yeah,
proud. I'm proud of you. I think we're all proud of you.
yeah. I think the vulnerability that we have as coaches is really important to have with our clients, right?
Mhm.
As coaches, when our clients know that we're right in the deep dark depths with them, they're like, heck yeah, we can do this. It becomes for me, which is that peer to peer. Each of us are resources and we can learn from each other. And the
Mhm.
big piece is that when you know a coach is going to use you as a resource and then also give you the gift of being able to understand yourself better. As a coach, it makes it so much easier for me to be vulnerable because now
Mhm.
they can open up, they can talk about their feelings, they can start to move forward in their life by knowing that vulnerability is the business right now.
Right.
It's the currency. You know,
Right.
yeah,
Right. I think that that is so smart. And even in my business, I really
yeah.
am vulnerable with my clients as well. And I tell them, look, I didn't want to do this either. I know exactly where you are right now because
Mhm,
I was there. I was anxious. I was nervous. I was uncomfortable. I was
mhm.
all of these emotions.
Yes.
And I had to face the elephant in the room, like you said
Mhm.
earlier. I couldn't just dismiss it. I don't see you, elephant. I'm hiding. I'm hiding. Like it was like, Tisha, he's in the room with you,
Yes. And
and yeah,
you
and
know,
clients respect that. They definitely respect that.
and as a coach, ask the questions. Well, do you feel like you can be vulnerable today?
Hmm.
If you're feeling angry, well, what's underneath that? Or key things to remind yourself of when you're active listening is those little things that they may just kind of go over. I had one client that said, she said, yeah, I don't trust anyone. I said, oh, okay. Do you trust yourself? She said, oh, Sparkle, that's too deep for the morning. That's what she, wait a
Too
minute.
deep. Too deep.
Wait, I don't know. Wait, hold on. Let me start over. That's what but the question is if you trust yourself enough to know that, then you know that no matter who you're around or what you're around, you are solid within you. So if
Right.
you haven't learned to trust yourself yet, that's okay. But what are the steps to get there? And how do you intend to let that become you, trusting yourself daily, right? How
Hmm.
do we do that? So
Yeah.
it's a way to kind of coach and tell people work with yourself, right? Once you get to know how you are, it's easy for others to evolve as they may around you, right?
Hmm. That's a great question. Do you trust yourself? I love her response to you. Oh, that's just too much right now. It's
Yes,
too much. morning.
Gotta be deep, Sparkle. I said, I'm sorry. This is all I know. So in tune to my emotions. This is the only thing I know, you know?
Oh my goodness. All right. Well, any other tips that you'd like to share, Sparkle, as we start to wind this down? And thanks again for everybody who was tuning in and into this episode. Like, what other tips can you share with our audience about, about how to become one with your feelings?
Yes, I think one of the biggest pieces is being able to acknowledge that something is happening to you.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sit in the acknowledgement. Okay. Once you figure out what you're feeling, validate that. Okay. Validate. Yeah. Okay. I am sad.
Yeah.
And now go have a conversation with someone about it.
Mm-hmm.
Go tell someone, man, I'm sad today and I'm not sure where it's coming from, but it doesn't feel good,
Yeah.
right? And now
Mm-hmm.
we all can sit around together. It doesn't have to, it could be a closed mouth friend, it could be a friend. Hey, I'm sad today. I don't know what's going on with me. That person can maybe give you a little bit of feedback. And now that they know it, they can help address it. Once you know that and you know why, you accept that emotion.
Mm-hmm.
You know that it's temporary, not permanent, and you get yourself ready for the next one.
Right.
By checking in with yourself daily, even if it's every hour on the hour. I mean, I had to do this to stay present for so long. I just had to focus on the hour. Well, how do I feel now? I'm angry, I'm mad, I'm upset. Next day, I'm happy. What is going on? Right? So, evaluating that and spending time with yourself to learn who you are from the inside out is probably one of the hardest things, but it's a best practice you can have. So, each morning, give yourself positive affirmations. Go ahead, tell yourself 3 things that you are. Today, I would say I'm smart, I'm willing, and I'm a happy person today,
Mm-hmm.
right now. Okay.
Yeah.
But what do I intend to be? Well, I intend to be a heck of a coach. I intend to be sober. I intend to have my own company, my own training agency one day. I intend to have these things, so I will throw it out into existence and I will manifest it. And it's inevitable, it will happen. Tell yourself this daily when you wake up in the morning. Soon as you do that, the brain is now changing its narrative for the way it used to think. And now it's thinking the way it wants to and what it intends to do. And so consistency is key. If you do that with your feelings and you consistently follow acknowledging, validating, and talking about it, you will start to live with these emotions and you'll have a pet elephant instead of just one you're ignoring.
Oh, mine's Dumbo. I just want to keep baby Dumbo. Dumbo's in my office with me. My pet
And there
elephant.
you go. Now Dumbo is your friend. You guys get to
Yeah.
hang out and talk about it, right? Instead of
Yeah.
like Dumbo's just over there. I don't know. I'm not sure what he's doing. You know?
He's learning how to fly, Sparkle, in
Yeah.
his ears. Oh, those are some great tips. I love that. Like, we always have to be positively speaking to ourselves. No negative talk. No, we can't do this. We can't. Yeah, it's so important that we wake up that and I love that question of how am I feeling right now in this very hour. I remember when I was having my kids and the nurses would always come into the room and they're like, "How are you feeling on a scale of these smiley faces?"
Yes. Yes.
And they would do that every time they would walk into the room after childbirth. How are you feeling now? Like, it wasn't a constant. I had to be that way all day long. Your
Exactly.
emotions it's okay to change your emotions with how you are, from hour to hour, like you said, like focus on the hour. How are you feeling in this hour?
Yes.
And validate it. And I love what you said. Like, don't just keep it in. Tell someone about it. You
Yes.
know,
Those moments that we don't tell someone are the moments when we fester that anxiety and then we go to what we call our symptoms. All of us have some sort of addiction. So
yeah,
we go to what is the void instead of just saying, "Hey, Tisha, it's Sparkle. I'm feeling sad today. You want to get coffee? I just need somebody to talk to."
yeah,
And
yeah,
that's hard, being vulnerable about your feelings and asking someone to maybe just hold space for you while you sit in it.
right.
It's not easy, but one thing I can say is that is what makes us strong, is
Hmm.
being able to do just that. If you're doing the opposite, that shows a sign of weakness. If you think you're just going to handle it all by yourself, the
Right.
difference is there's too many people in the world that are willing to listen, and they're willing to help, and they're willing to hold space, right?
Yeah.
Even if it's one simple emotion, because we know the next one's coming, sit in there, have a good conversation. You'll probably get out of your rut right away and talk about some things that are meaningful to you and to the person that you opened up and was vulnerable with,
Right.
It's just so empowering. It's empowering and it's powerful to know when somebody finally drops their guard, they're somewhat vulnerable, and they surrender.
Yeah.
There's an innocence to it, and it feels good inside to know that there's people out there that are working to try to do that.
Oh my goodness. Not only that, but it leads to just an incredible connection with that
Yeah.
person. They
Hmm.
feel that trust, they feel that
Yeah.
love, they feel that bond that you have when you are, and just like both you and Robert were saying, when you get into more of an active listening role versus you're
Right.
good, I'm good, we're good.
Yeah. We're good. Coffee? No.
Coffee. Yeah, yeah. I know Bruce just put a comment up here too saying, Sparkle, great advice. And your host there, Tisha, is an amazing resource for that. Thank you, Bruce.
Yeah.
She's helped me last night on the phone. Kudos to you both. Yeah, Bruce is my person. Like, I'll call him and I'll be like, hey, I'm dealing with this right now. Like, you want to chat? And he'll do the same. And it's good to be able to have those people in your life that, can just be there for you when you need
Well,
that. Or
and like, think about how it feels. It's a
Mhm.
totally different feeling when both people are participating.
Right. Yeah.
It's like, oh, they were listening to me. This is great.
Yeah.
It was so good. Like, because nowadays people are like, yeah, okay, you said you wanted red. No, actually, I want it just yellow. I don't. Oh, blue. Okay, blue. We got you. But okay, So we don't even get a chance to actually sit down in it and express it. So, like you said, you call and talk to him on the phone. Jason Tracy, every time when we have our coaching session, there's at least 30 minutes in there where I'm like, and let me tell you what else happened. Like, let it out. Let it out.
You need to. You need to sparkle. You can't just keep that inside. Like, if you're dealing with
Exactly.
something, talk about it. I'm giving you permission. Talk
That
it over.
the tears of joy piece that a lot of people don't understand. Sitting in the void of happiness brings tears. And that was probably one of the hardest emotions to sit with, was the tears of joy, happiness that takes your breath away. And
Yeah.
so when you have it and it happens consistently, and you're like, I just love carrots. You just yeah, it's like all of a sudden these things flush in, especially if you've been suppressing them for so many years with alcohol, drugs, or any addiction, right? Now
Uh-huh.
all of a sudden they're poking out and they're like, we're free, right? And then they just get going. So it's like holding on and just embracing it and living in it.
Right. Oh, good stuff. All right. So, Sparkle, tell us about your academy that's coming and how people can connect with you.
So I am a peer recovery coach, and I am now a trainer and facilitator of peer recovery coaches. There are only 8 in the state of Colorado, and we have a lot of people who are wanting to give back, not just as alcoholic addicts, but also as allies of alcoholic addicts and
Mhm.
as parents and siblings. So a lot of people have been taking my courses, and I decided, you know what? I think I'm going to go ahead and be a training agency. So the things in the making for Sparkle LLC, the light at the end of the tunnel, now has Ignite Your Light, the Academy. And this is my mentorship program that goes with the courses, and it just helps you be a better version of yourself, which also adds in my workshop, Being a Better Me for Me, with the workbook that helps you dive deep. And it seems simple, but deep. The book does.
Mhm.
So it takes
Mhm.
some time. You take some time with yourself to learn these simple things that we don't practice. We say we're good at, but we're not. And so that is what I'm doing now. You can find all of that information on sparklelindsay.com. And like I said before, it's been really good with the agency. I am looking to have a certain amount of coaches under that agency. And I also have found the Being a Better Me for Me book club
Mm.
has actually donated scholarships, a few scholarships for some people to take those courses as well. So I have been blessed in my time with it. And I know that if you guys know someone that would love to take these courses, a coach that needs a coach, Most of our coaches need coaches, and that's where I'm at right now is
Mhm.
we have peer recovery coaches. We have coaches, but the question I ask everybody is, do you have the legs to your table? Do you have the supports you need to move forward as a coach? If
Mhm.
you don't, you need to come on by sparklelindsay.com and we'll check it out so we can get you the tools you need to be successful, to be equipped to go out there and help people in their beautiful disasters. But you got to help yourself first. And so that's kind of where I'm at now. We've got coaches, but now we want to make these coaches great coaches. And
There
so
you
that's what
go.
I'm
I
doing.
love your mission, making these
Yes.
coaches even better coaches.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Hmm.
Yeah, and I love what you're focusing on too, because you've taken such a specific niche, and so it makes it easier for all of us to be able to say, we know Sparkle, we'll send them to Sparkle.
Yes. And a big piece too is that a lot of people ask me, they go, so do what you do as a coach, do you just work with alcoholic addicts? Absolutely not. I work
Yeah.
with anybody that's battling any type of addiction. Your
Hmm.
addiction can be being overweight, your addiction can be being underweight. But honestly, the work that's done on the inside is really what's important, right? What's your root addictions? What is
Hmm.
actually making these addictions even exist? So when we do that, we start to, that's the things that I find in many. I work with people with trauma, I work
Hmm.
with mental health. Sometimes I work with people with low self-esteem or depression. All of these different elements can happen to any of us. And it also sends us to what we may call a symptom, which is alcohol and addiction, although our root might be depression.
Right.
So it's been really good. I just know being a force to be reckoned with an army of people, an army of coaches who feel stable and feel supported is the bomb. And I know it because I now know that as a coach, I have the supports and I have warriors behind me that are going to make sure I'm okay. And
Yep.
I'm going to continue to surrender and humble myself daily to be the best version of me while I'm helping others, you know?
Oh, good stuff. All right.
Thank
I'm so
you.
proud of you. Thank you so much, Sparkle, and congratulations on 3 years sober.
Yeah, we're doing
Cheers.
it. Yep.
Cheers to you. And yeah, that's so awesome. And yes, so reach out to Sparkle. You can find her on her website and all sorts of social media platforms. I'm
Oh,
guessing
yeah.
Sparkle.
Mhm.
And thank you so much for holding the space
Yeah.
for me and to come on the show today and talk more about how to become one with your feelings. I really, really, truly enjoyed this topic because
Oh, me
it's
too.
so good. And I want so many people to get the value out of this talk because you drop so many words of wisdom about, how to help with your feelings, how to become one with your feelings and how to address your feelings. And then on the other side of how people can become better listeners to their
Yeah.
family and friends, so
Mhm.
that they can dive in and really hear where they're at and meet them where they're at. So thank you for sharing so many great tips. We have Brian who just joined us, who
All
dropped
right.
a little nugget too. Said here's a resource: Laser Focused Coaching by Marion Franklin. And he said it's been an interesting read. So good.
Okay.
Good. Thank you so much, Brian,
Good.
for sharing that resource. And I just want to say thanks again. Happy
Thank you.
Happy Friday to you, Sparkle, and to everybody who was tuning in live or catching the replay on this. Tisha Talks will be back next week. We're talking with Phyllis Rend. She is going to be talking to us about imposter syndrome, which I think we've
Yeah,
all had.
at that big time.
Yes.
It's a feeling.
It is a feeling. Today I'm feeling like quite the imposter today,
Yeah.
Sparkle.
Cool. Well, I just want to say thank you so much for having me. I think it's been wonderful to finally get together and talk.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, of course.
Yes, and I think one of the biggest pieces for people to understand is let's accept and understand people's fragileness.
Mhm.
We are fragile individuals. We are human. And so it's important to accept that in one another and give each other grace. Let's
Yes.
do that by listening and honoring others and going from there. So thank you so much for having me. It's an honor. I appreciate you.
Oh, of course. Well, thank you so much, Sparkle, and I will catch up with you soon, I'm
All right.
sure.
I'll see you.
Okay.
Bye.